Hi, everyone. So glad to see you. So first, before we get into this too much, I'm Nicki Baxley at Nicki Hearts Cards. You know, if you've been to any of these lives, she's going to pop up some information there. Right now, we've got my updated supply list. Something happened to the supply list. I have no idea what it was, but it didn't get the links over correctly like it was supposed to. So I just wrote a blog post this morning and posted it there with all the links. I actually put a few extra links because some people asked in the Facebook to see a few things in my craft room. So I went on and put those on the list as well. If I show you anything else that is not on that list, I will update it after this live. I may even write myself some notes to try to remind myself to put certain links on there, but I appreciate you using those links so much. On social media, I am Nicki Hearts Cards, spelled Nicki. And I am on YouTube. I'm on everything. So just make sure and give me a follow. That really helps me out. And we will see if people start having some questions that I can answer. I hope that you enjoyed my chat, or my video was on bottle storage. So, oh, Lynn, thank you. You're ordering the 7-tier bottle organizer. Thanks. Make sure you use that link. I know that was messed up before. I'm so sorry about that. But I do have it. It's right back here. Okay, so give me the details of the shelving you have on top of your Alex drawers. People ask me this all the time. So I'm going to step aside so you can see a little bit. So what those are, they are actually computer risers. And I found them on Amazon. Right now, they only have black ones on Amazon, but you can also do a shoe shelf like that. And I just measured the top of my Alex units, and I made sure that I found something that worked. And I tried, one thing I will say, let me see which way would be best to do this, is that these spacings, look at things you may want to store in those spaces and make sure that you measure how wide that needs to be. Finding them wide enough was sometimes part of the problem. And so mine right here, sorry, my pointer is a little bit backwards. That is a mink machine, and this is a foil machine right here. So they're probably about, I would say they're at least a 6-inch opening. And then they're long like my Alex drawers. You can tell because there's that middle section that it doesn't cover the whole thing. They're not exact, but I actually kind of like that. I roll up mats and things and stick them right in that area. So that is what's back there. Oh, the clip that my Misty stored in, I'm going to write that one down for you. That is Make It by Marco. And I'm going to pick it up and show it to you. All right, so it's a plastic clip. Sorry, it's hard to figure out where the camera is. It's a plastic clip, and these people are on Etsy. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that, but you can order from them. And I love that it holds it. Put it in the right way, I guess. It holds this. It holds paper trimmers. But it's Make It by Marco, M-A-R-K-O. Stick that back there. Okay, anything else? So you want me to try to? Okay, so I was originally a scrapbooker, but what happened is that it was just taking, I mean, I still scrapbook my kids and try to keep up, but I'm so far behind. And I just realized that making cards was a faster way to be creative. And I really liked doing that versus trying to keep up with the full page layouts. So I still scrapbook in my free time. I don't have a whole lot of that right now, so I'm definitely making a lot more cards. But I do have all of our, sorry, which direction is that? That way. All of our vacation scrapbooks and my kids up to the age of about 2 or 3 so far. Let's see if there's another question. If not, I was going to show you. So if you are here and you were over okay, here's a quick question. So Stephanie, are there any mom and pop stamp stores anywhere? Yes, in your end of the valley. I don't think there are up here anymore. So yes, I have in Knoxville, there is one, and it's called Scrappin' in the City. And it is a very, like, if you're coming through Knoxville, come on and check it out. It is the cutest place. It's an old Victorian house, and Sarah is the owner of that. They are great, and they have lots of fun products. It's a really fun place to just kind of peruse around. So they're in downtown Knoxville, right off of I-40, if anybody's around here. So, Oh, okay. So Debbie said she used a small rack for baking pans to hold her trimmer and her Misty. That would definitely work. That's great. That's a good idea. Can you tell us for the ink brushes? So do you want to see what I use to hold my ink brushes? Because I use that same company, Make It by Marco. Would you like me to go grab those? Is that what you want to do? Okay. That means I have to step out of the frame. So hang on just a second. Sorry, those are farther away than other things. Here's what I use. So this is made by those same people, Make It by Marco, and it's called the Bathtub Blender Set. So just this. I don't think they do affiliates, so I don't have an affiliate link for them, but they're a small business. Tell them I sent you if you can. Okay, so do y'all have any questions about the tiered organization? Oh, Pam, thank you for loving my presentation. You know, it's always so weird when you make it and you're like, I hope that this gives people some good ideas. It's always one of those, I just hope it's received well, because you take so much time to do it, and it's nice when somebody does that. And it's so nice whenever people are, using your links, that stuff pops up for me, and it just makes my day. It really helps support me. I appreciate that so much. Oh, hello from Knoxville. Yes, stamping in the city or scarfing in the city is so much fun. And yes, Debbie J, the Make It by Marco does make a lot of fun scrapbooking items. And I think they're like a 3D printing type company. So they make them where they fit so well. Okay, how do you navigate a clog in a spray stain bottle? So I do sprays and I use them. I tend to take the top off and rinse it with really hot water. I don't know if that's the correct way to do it or not, but I tend to, a lot of times I'll soak it. Sometimes I'll even put just a little bit of like dish liquid in there in a bowl that's really warm, and I will work on it that way. I saw in your video that you store CP ink minis in their packaging. Why don't you have them in your stamp storage units? Okay, because, so Becky, I store mine in my drawer. One, because, and that's my extra, in case y'all are looking, if you did the VIP bundle or the Ultimate Organization bundle, I show you how I store these mini inks. And the reason that I store them in those containers is, one, I really like those containers. And two, I can open my drawer and see all of those colors. And for me, Catherine Pooler inks are my favorite. So it's not like putting it in a drawer is going to keep me from using it. It actually helps me. And I really like grouping them in those color combos. So I showed a couple of ways where I kept my swatches and how I keep all that together. If you want me to show you that drawer, I can open it and kind of tilt the, maybe. If not, I can bring it over here. But I can do that if anybody's interested. One thing that, sorry, where did you get your tray for Nuvo paints and sprays? So if you were talking about the one in the Alex unit, I got it from Stamp in Storage. It's Stamp in Storage. And all of that is on my link. Or are you meaning these? If you're meaning these tiers back here, these are from Amazon. So it's just some tiered, they're made, I believe, for nail polish. And so those I actually got from Amazon, and I do have a link to that. So those are on my supply list. So one of the things the Facebook group, I was trying to pop in there and say, they wanted to see how I store finished cards. And I have kind of a system that I use where I always store my finished cards in a plastic sleeve. So I wanted to kind of show you. So here's a card, okay? And I usually don't put the back on it until I'm ready to send it, just to save space, okay? And I have a whole area where I store card backs. And then I use these little plastic, sorry, gotta get it in front of the thing. Hope y'all like my rainbow nails. This plastic thing, it is sealable. So it's a flimsy, it's kind of a flimsy plastic, but it keeps it very, very well taken care of. You can mail them in these. And then I put those in here. I don't usually seal it. I actually tuck in the back like this. And then I have a clear plastic package so that I'm not rubbing off anything here and I'm not causing too much trouble. So I keep them in these, and then I have a couple of storage units. So I just use something I found around the house. These are cards that I need to put in plastic sleeves, okay? So just things that I've set out. Either I still am filming them, or I'm making shorts with them, or I'm doing something like that. But when I'm completely done, here's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to try to tilt my screen so that you can see down in this because it's a large unit that fits in my IKEA calyx units, okay? So I'm going to try to just tilt the screen. We'll see if this is going to work. So I'm going to get a different side of my craft room. This container goes in your IKEA unit. See back here, like in a calyx unit? This is made by Stamp & Storage also. And what I did is I made my own dividers. I just used a label and I laminated pretty cardstock that I liked and made dividers. You can buy dividers. That's perfectly fine. These are drawers. And so I've got plastic cards in here, and then I'll have a different divider. So love cards here. And then I've got, my hello section, like this. So it has 2 drawers that are this size. The second drawer I use for, I see a question pop up while I'm talking. So those plastic sleeves, they are actually on Amazon. They are very inexpensive, and I did put those on my blog on the link list. This one, I don't know if you can tell, but these are envelopes. And so what I do is I label the top of the envelope package and just keep them in their packages, and then I can go through and grab colors that I need. So it's got these 2 drawers, and then I've got this bottom drawer, which I'm trying to, this bottom drawer right now is still just a little bit, it's things that I need to put up, or it's cards that people have sent me. So I've got them there. I want to create a display wall in my craft room. I'm hoping to create a display wall back there to put all these beautiful cards that my friends send me, but I haven't quite got there yet. So when I do, I will. And I think I just looked on Amazon too. I think this pack of sleeves, I don't know how much comes in it, but I reuse them. Like I don't tend to mail them in this. And so then I just take this plastic sleeve off and use it for another one that I'm storing. So I really have only ordered these maybe once, maybe twice. And I think it's like $6 for hundreds. So you get a lot of them, and they do protect your card if you want to mail them that way. I just have found that the people that I'm sending cards to, unless it's other crafters, sometimes they get confused on what the plastic is. They don't know how to open it. And so they'll leave it in the plastic and they don't realize it's actually a card that you take out. So I have stopped mailing them in this also just to preserve the plastic. They're not going to use it. They're just going to throw it away. So I'll use it. Tell me what other kinds of questions you have. Okay, yes. So Lynn Sanders said, yep, $6.99 for 100. So I bet 100 would last you. I mean, depending on how many cards you make, I don't know. 100 lasts me a long time, and I make cards pretty much every day since I'm on YouTube and having to create videos weekly and on design teams and all of that. So anything else? Were any of you at Simon Says Create this weekend? I just got back from Ohio. Did I see anybody there? Anybody out in the live? Couple of things that are coming up on my channel while I'm waiting to see if y'all have any more questions. I hit 5K on YouTube this weekend. So excited. So of course there's going to be big giveaways. So make sure you have signed up for my newsletter. That's part of the links and things at the bottom of the description. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter. 1, that gets you a freebie. And 2, it gets you on that newsletter so that you get the information on when I'm doing the giveaway. I'm going to do some big giveaways for 5K, and I want y'all to be there. I've got lots of new products from Simon Says Create event this weekend too. So, okay, what do you use when you do use your sprays? A spray box? Yes. Let me show you. Hang on. I just have, hopefully I'm going to drop something at the same time. Okay, so I just have a spray box with this, and I just keep it. So see how I have shelves back there? Ooh, this way. Sorry, other direction. And I just keep it on a shelf. Sometimes I'll turn it this way so you can't tell what it is, but it's just a plain box. Sometimes I'll use packaging boxes and just use them too. If I've been doing a lot and this one's soaked or saturated, but it's the Tim Holtz Splat box is what that is. Okay, she's popping up my link to YouTube. I would love to have all of you guys subscribe over there. I've got lots of fun videos and lots of organization too. If you want a full craft room tour, that's where you need to go. That's my most popular video, and it's a lot of fun. It's also got a lot of links in it for you too. Okay, what are those shelves behind you? So these, what I was talking about, they are actually computer monitor risers. Thank you. Thank you for saying congrats on 5K, by the way. So these can also, you can use like shoe shelves. I said those are on Amazon. They don't sell the white ones anymore. I only see black ones on Amazon. And sometimes you have to really look at your opening to make sure you've got enough stuff. So, okay, Monica says, how often do I purge? Pretty much every day. I love, like, there's something about cleaning it out. And now that I am doing so much and doing YouTube, I do a lot of, I have a whole box that I just sit aside. If I'm not using something, I go through a box and I notice I haven't used it in a while, I put it in my box for giveaways, because I am getting new products in pretty regularly, and there's just certain products that I'm like, okay, I'm not ever going to get around to use this stamp, and if I don't get to use it, somebody needs to use it. So I do a lot of giveaways on there. Was there anything from Creative Mint that you were excited to see or surprised by? I was surprised to see Jennifer McGuire. I got to meet Jennifer McGuire. That was so exciting. Lots of pictures coming on Instagram, and there's lots of fun new products there. Just a lot of fun make and takes. Okay, how do Stampin' Up! Ink pads compare to your favorite brands? So I do not use Stampin' Up! I am sorry, but I have never used Stampin' Up! Ink pad. I can tell you what's my favorite, but I have not compared it to that. I think maybe I've used somebody else's at some point, but whatever it was, I don't have a huge knowledge of Stampin' Up! I am primarily a Distress Oxide ink pad person and Catherine Pooler. Those are my top, most favorite. Use them on almost all of my cards. Okay, always interested in how people store their stamps and dies. How do you store yours? So I store mine, like, I believe, I don't know if did anybody have a project on that or a video on that today? I store mine in those Avriel containers. Let's see if I can reach one. That are basically, I put my stamp in the front, and then I put a magnetic sheet and my dies on the back. If I have extra pieces of die cuts or things for that stamp, I usually stick those in there as well. Okay, and Danielle says, I got my shoe storage shelves at Target. It's awesome. So yeah, you can use it as shoe storage. You just need to measure where you're going to put it. Do you keep paper scraps? And if so, how do you organize and store them? Paper scraps, whew, those are always a problem. But I keep a rainbow file of those, and I try to keep reasonable size ones, but I can't say that I don't always throw some away. I try to keep all the white, all the black, and I try to keep an organized file of each one, so that I've got red, yellow, green. And so if I'm looking for those colors, that I can grab them. These days with making things for teams, a lot of times I need to know what brand that product is. So I've started storing things by brands, and if I have some scraps to that brand, I put it in a folder. So I've got magazine folders. Let me kind of, I can't reach them very easily without going out of screen. But I have these magazine folders and plastic things that go down in them. And so I'll have each color like that so that I can put my scraps for the specific brand in that one. Okay, which design teams are you on, and did you apply? So right now I've kind of cut down on a few. I've been on iCrafter, I've been on Cat Scrappiness. I'm currently on Scrapbook Pal, which is an online store, and I do projects every month for Simon Says Stamp, for scrapbook.com, not most months, I'd say every few months for scrapbook.com, and I am a brand ambassador for Catherine Pooler. All right, Jessica, do you use ephemera? If so, how do you store them? So you're going to probably be like, what in the world? I do not use ephemera. So I use it if I'm scrapbooking, and I just don't have a whole lot of it. So I don't really need to store that as much. I have one little bin that sometimes I will put extra stuff in, but I tend to try to keep it, like if it comes with I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit the microphone. If it comes with a pack, like a 12 by 12 pack, and all the stuff is together, I try to keep all that stuff together. So the ephemera is right there with the paper that it goes with, but I just don't have a whole lot to show you. Where do you get the magnetic sheets? I get them from Amazon. That is not on my supply list, but if you want me to put it on there, I will do that. I will say, Amazon, even though I'm ordering the exact same thing I used to, it has gotten a little flimsier. So sometimes I that aggravates me. I liked it when it was really thick, and it's very hard to find a really thick magnetic sheet anymore. Since COVID, I've had a hard time finding them, but the company that they use that I keep ordering them from is still great. And if I'm sliding it in a pouch of my stamp storage pockets, it doesn't really matter if it's flimsy. If you have to do it like on a wall, you might want to research getting some more, but I can put that on my link after the thing. Okay, so when do you use Distress Oxides and when do you use Catherine Pooler ink? Do you use them for different purposes? Yes. So I so both of them are very similar in what they can do. Distress Oxides, to me, have a lighter, more white, I guess, background to them. They're more subtle, I guess you could say, more subtle. So skies. Really nice, something that almost looks watercolor. You know, I feel like those are great, and they're just so fun to blend that if I'm going to blend a background or something like that, Distress Oxide is really nice. When I use Catherine Pooler, which I don't know if you have Catherine Pooler inks or not, but Catherine Pooler has a completely different ink than anybody else, and it is super bright. So I love bright colors. I was about to see if I've got anything bright. I love bright colors, and I love that she has groupings of, she has a color wheel. She has groupings that help you match those colors together on a card, which is really nice. But I use hers to make my own cardstock. I use hers for ink blending. Making my own cardstock is number one. Number two is stamping, especially a solid image, if I want it to be super bright. So if I want a really bright, bold card, Catherine Pooler is my favorite. She does have a set of inks called Spa that's a little bit lighter, but it's still overall to me much brighter than a Distress Oxide. So the background of this card is Distress Oxide. Even though I've got bright colors on it, that blue is Distress Oxide. This is Distress Oxide down here. Sorry, it's in its plastic. Whereas, let me see if I can find a Catherine Pooler. Okay, and I see Heidi's asking, do you use different types of papers? How do you keep those separate, watercolor, etc.? Yes, I can show you that. Let me see. Okay, here's Catherine Pooler. Now, granted, I did heat emboss that, but look at how, it's just bright. So bright, and I love that about it. So, okay, different papers and how I store them. Not super neat, I'm going to say. I'm going to try to point this. You're going to see a camera light back here, but do you see these shelves back here? Let's see which hand it is. They actually came from the Container Store. And I know that looks like a mess, but I like to see the edges of those, and so I just stack the paper up in there. Sometimes I put some extra paper back on these shelves as well. You can see I got some right here, my card base papers right there, but I've got my watercolor. I have a hard time pointing when it's backwards on the screen. Sorry. I got watercolor paper and stuff like that over on those shelves. Okay, so Card Craze says, I will back my magnetic sheets onto serial board, but I cut mine down to fit the CD sleeves. So serial board is enough for me. If you use a big piece, I use 2 layers of serial board. That's a good idea. Mine are not, the magnetic sheets that I use do not have adhesive. I don't like the adhesive, and I didn't really see a need for it in those pockets. So I don't use any adhesive on those magnetic sheets. They're just plain magnets. Okay. All right. So Jane says, what's your story? How did you get into this addicting card making field? Oh, that's awesome. She says she's a fan, and thanks for the wonderful inspiration. Thank you so much. Okay, my story. This will help you out if you're on any of my YouTube lives, because I do some trivia. I am from Tennessee originally, and I was trained and worked for 20 years as a women's health nurse practitioner. So I took care of moms and babies and all of that up until about COVID, when my husband had a job change and we had to move to the Midwest. So we moved for about 18 months. And during that time, it was COVID, and I was homeschooling kids, all of those things. And so since that time, my husband was super supportive of my card making. He said, why don't you take a go at this YouTube thing and see what happens? And so he's been pushing me to do it. He's just like, I know you can do it. And so I just started kind of right around COVID, working on it, working on my tech skills, and really have gotten more and more where it's a full-time job now. I wish I could say I was making full-time money. Not yet. but I'm working on it. And so I work on videos and cards almost every day while the kids are at school, and I'm just kind of a partially retired nurse practitioner right now. So tell me what else. As far as getting into card making, it was because scrapbooking was taking me too long. I'm sorry, scrapbookers. I love what you do. It's amazing. And I love doing it when I have the chance, but I just get that, I guess you could say, that immediate gratification from making a card where I can at least, a scrapbook page sometimes would take me days, and a card, I can usually make one in a day. I mean, sometimes I make more. But we'll go. So next is, how do you store mini ink cubes? Okay, I'm going to say there's definitely different types of mini ink cubes. So I store them in different ways. I store Catherine Pooler mini inks in their original containers in a drawer so that I can see them. Their original containers are clear so that you can see. I'm going to see. I'll grab one, see what you think. Notice I don't have them all back in there, but sorry. Can you see that with my lighting? So I don't have all of them in here because I'm taking pictures right now with this set. So I store those in a drawer back here. As far as the distress inks, that's the distress inks and the Altenew little mini inks, I also store in drawers. If they come in packaging, I usually leave them in packaging because that plastic sturdy packaging, I can arrange in squares in my drawer. So my computer won't reach over there and stay plugged in and be sure to be on Wi-Fi for me to show you that. But if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Nicki Hearts Cards, you can see, I think I have an entire thing on just my Alex drawers and how I'm storing things in those. Okay, it says get your questions in. We just have a few more minutes. So, oh, I saw one pop up. Okay, Jessica, does the same apply with ink sprays? I have had it in my head that I all of them. Tell me, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Does the same apply with ink sprays, that you need all the distress oxides, or you need, I'm not quite sure on that question. I'm sorry. Let's try it and see if Laurel can pop it back up. So as far as ink sprays, I have Oxides mostly, and I have a few just of some other brands that I've picked up at little yard sales and things like that to try. But I definitely am more of an ink blender than I am ink spray. I just like the control. So I tend to want to control what it's going to look like, and sometimes have trouble with just spraying and seeing what happens. So maybe that's why I'm just a little bit too much type A for that, I guess. Okay, so, oh, hey. Okay, do you store your products right after a card is finished or after you took pictures? So I always set up my pictures with those products, and then I put them away. And granted, I usually have a spot in my in my dining room where I'm setting up pictures. And so a lot of times stuff is kind of piling up in there, but I make myself at least once every few days grab all that stuff and get it back in its proper place in the craft room, because a lot of times I'm using it again. So I want to make sure I put it up. Okay. Yes. If you weren't able to get your question answered, I think we're leaving. Make sure you follow me on Nicki Hearts Cards. I would love to see you over there, and I hope that you all have a great day. Oh, wait, she's got one more. How do you store liquid watercolor? I do. I have some in drawers. I actually put some on these stands back here that we did with liquids. So I don't have a ton of it, but I put them back there. Okay. I think we're about done. I can tell. I think we might have like one more minute. Okay. Is there a right way to? Yes. Distress ink pads. You have your own. I would not store them on your side, especially the oxides. I'm going to say I'm more of an expert on oxides. I've had mine leak out the side into the drawer. I tried storing them on their sides. I tried storing them directly like this, and it didn't work. I store mine directly on here. Let's see if I can turn it to show you. Whoops, we got that out of the way. Can you see mine? They're right there, flat. So, and those are Stampin' Storage units as well. So I've got most of my things that go in IKEA are from Stampin' Storage, and that's a U.S. company. I think they're based in Michigan. Okay. So if y'all are going shopping today, check out my blog. She'll put the link down there. And of course, you can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me anywhere if you need any other questions. So I was so great to be here with you today. And thank you so much for watching my presentation. Thanks for all of you who followed and are using my links. I really appreciate it. Thank you.